beginning of. That's it.
Yeah.
That's as good as the edit gets, unfortunately.
Hello, welcome back to 100% or Nothing Forever Hardcore Podcast. Number 27. Am says it's 28. It might be, but it's more than it was last time. So it's another one. So it's in the future. So today we have Big Ron,
Ron
Ron
Partlow.
What's going on, guys?
and he is here to lay down some truth bombs on
Oh,
all of you elastic band wielding shitbags. I hope.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it is nice to get a fellow gym owner on here, so we can maybe discuss
Uh,
some of that stuff, Ron.
I'm happy, and I've always been a huge fan of, as you know, Anth. Um, UK bodybuilding is kind of, I was sort of proudly kind of an adopted UK bodybuilding cousin, but you guys have been great to me, and the whole crew, James, and back in the day, Luke was awesome to me, and everyone has been awesome. I finally got to meet Leroy at Dino's gym last year. It's great to finally meet you, Leroy. And of course, I'm one of those guys that came up in the '90s, so Leroy was the mythical character that nobody ever got to actually meet.
Yeah, he stays in the shadows, Mr. Davis. So you have to kind of drag him out from his cave now and again. So yeah,
But,
he's a very private man. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
recently, you do a training review of Hollingshead? That was
Yeah. I've trained with James a few times, but we filmed two episodes of Mutant on a Mission together just because James is a great guy and he loves the show. And I did an episode at King's Gym back in like 2017 with him, and we trained legs together. And then I recently, like last season, went to see, him and JP had the thing at the shed there, and I went and did an episode at that gym and trained with Hollingshead again. So he's done two episodes of Mutant on a Mission with me, and yeah, James has also been on our show three times, I think. So he's been like a real friend for a long time. So, but I love going
Ah,
to the
Dan,
UK to see you guys.
I think you're speaking of the gym reaction video, aren't you? When
that
James was
was that
training
was,
legs at Durham, yeah? Is that what you
and
mean? Yeah.
and now I've reversed because I'm like, shit. What if it wasn't?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
reactions. Yeah. I think we've done a couple of the Hollingshead reaction videos for sure. So, you know.
And one was with Leroy, and I can't remember who else.
Yeah, Anth was in one. Leroy was you guys
Charlie.
training up.
Charlie
Yeah.
was training as well, my business partner, Charlie. Mr.
Yeah.
Overflex.
and
Yeah.
who was on the panel of the reaction?
It would have been me and Dusty and Scott, and
Yeah,
we might have had, I don't know, sometimes we have a guest on to do reactions
it was
with us too.
definitely
So
Dusty. But I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
it was Dusty at the end when. Yeah, it's worth noting that I don't think he does this every day.
Right. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah, it
don't
was
think that James does this every day.
no.
I think that was
I,
5 weeks out from the Olympia, wasn't it? 4, 5 weeks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, something like that. Those are fun to do. We're watching old videos, watching some of our favorite old videos, or maybe something that we didn't see, like the odd time we find a video that like I actually had like it's one of the ones I missed. And it's always fun to do a reaction to something you haven't already seen because then it's like even more of a true reaction. So they're fun to do. And I like doing the old contest videos and the old training clips, and that's it's
yeah,
it's it's fun.
we yeah, I love those. We've been trying to get Leroy to do them. We want Leroy to do a couple of them.
Yeah.
I might pick some especially bad ones on purpose though.
There you go. There you go.
But with our technological skills, we're not quite there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there, Dan.
We'll
So,
get there.
Ron, obviously, us guys know who you are. Do you want to kind of introduce yourself a little bit to some of our guests who may not know who you are? Because you've been around the block, Ron.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in bodybuilding my whole life, just one of the lifers that is still around and still going to all the shows and still loves it and still happy to be a part of the industry for sure. And always trying to find a way to, contribute. I competed for almost 20 years, and I did get my pro card eventually. I was one of those lifer guys that's probably slugged away a little too long, a little longer than I should have, but I eventually nailed one down and then called it a day. But I didn't want to compete into my 40s or anything. So yeah, now I'm a gym owner, and that's been we own West Coast Iron now with my partners for our almost 8 years. We're going on 8 years now. So the gym business has been quite interesting to say the least over the last 8 years. And but we're here and we made it and we're doing great. And I died a lot of other bodybuilders. For those that don't know me, I do a lot of contest prep for a lot of people from local all the way to, I've had clients in the Olympia and stuff. So it's something I love to do. And I just love to help, I love to help people get ready for a show. It's always fun. It's like that first show feeling for some people. And, you remember your very first show and how exciting it was. And I still get that way when I help someone who's like totally new and then also too that love of winning and going for pro cards and stuff. That's always a lot of fun. So I love helping clients at that level too. So yeah, just I train for yeah, I just want to look good now and keep the machine running. That's my goal. But it's fun to be surrounded by people that are growing and still training like animals. So
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 where did
in a nutshell, Ron, yeah, you're a fucking proper coach.
there you go. Well, thank
In
you. I appreciate that.
in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
You know, I don't know. It just, always loved bodybuilding, man. You know how it is, Leroy. It just gets in you for some reason. And I thought I was good enough to do it for a while. And maybe a little delusional, but I eventually found my way and I'm still happy to be involved. Obviously, I got a great thing going with Mutant. They've taken me all over the world now for going on 13 years, all the expos over and over and over again, traveling with them, and I'm just very lucky. So, you know, getting to do podcasts with guys like you and talk about bodybuilding and, try to communicate, I don't know, the how it used to be, trying to make sure people learn where we come from and yeah, I don't know. I like to contribute. I like to think I can contribute a little bit of that, make sure people know why we're all where we're at. Whose fault is it?
so where did you turn pro on? Because you're Canadian, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I turned pro at the Canadian Nationals finally. So I did 13 national level shows. I did four North Americans too. And always did pretty good there for the most part. But yeah, I finally turned pro in Canada. But I was 39 when I turned pro, so I was like, I didn't want to compete into my 40s. And then I blew my quad, so it was over anyways. I was like, let's open a gym. So,
Yeah, I
once
saw
you
that you
blow
blew
your
the quad.
quad, you blow the quad, it's like, okay, let's get something going here.
So obviously you didn't compete as a professional bodybuilder, no?
I did the Van Pro once because it was actually a week after I turned pro.
All
So
right.
I turned pro and then Aceto was like, well, you got to do this Vancouver show. It's like a week away. And I'm like, yeah, okay, okay. So I did the Vancouver pro, but then I tore my quad shortly after that. And I was like, okay, well, you know, not everybody gets to be Mr. Olympia.
So how is the quad then? Well, I'm always interested about injuries and stuff because I'm always riddled with injuries. Has it held you
Yeah,
back like a
yeah.
lot, or
No, so I mean, it was a devastating injury. That's like the biggest tendon in the body, right? So I tore my quad right, 100% rupture. But that's actually my good knee now. Like
really?
I don't know, I had a spectacular surgery. I had a great surgeon, great rehab. I guess I credit myself too for just being like absolutely mental with my rehab. Like it was like I was getting ready for a contest. Everything was like meticulous and I exactly 1 year after I tore it, was squatting four plates again. So it was like quite a year of rehab. But now that's my good knee. Like that was years ago, and now that's like that knee's like perfect. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The other knee makes noises, you know. Even my surgeon said he did a real good job. Like he knew, obviously, he's like, you're not a normal dude. I'm gonna make sure this doesn't come off again, right? And then after the surgery, he goes, that'll never come off. You'll tear the other one way before you tear that one
Oh,
again.
great.
That's what he said to me. And I was like, oh shit, don't say that. But yeah, yeah, they're crazy now. They sure gives you, I don't know if any of you guys have had anything reattached, but it sure gives you an amazing like appreciation for how your body heals, man. Like we all heal from injuries, but when you have something put back on and it heals, you're like, fuck, that's amazing. Like it really is an experience to have something, have to grow back to like it's just as it's happening, you're like, shit, this is like, I don't know. It was a very crazy experience to have something that serious happen and have to rehab it. So,
The surgery's come on a long way since the 90s. A long way.
oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is just like staple shit back together, I think, and just hope for the best. But
Bit of sellotape, gaffer tape.
yeah, yeah. I remember you guys are like this. I actually I was lucky enough to have Branch Warren's contact. Like I know Branch a little bit, right? And so it was like the day I had surgery, I called Branch. I texted him and I was like, can I call you? I tore my quad. And he was like, yeah, because that's he's like he went through that famous Arnold win, right? And I just said, hey man, I tore my quad 3 days ago. I'm going in for surgery. I wanted to see if you had any info for me, like, well, what do you think? And he goes, it's no big deal. Just get your range of motion back and then you can load it. And I go, well, what did you do for rehab? He's like, rehab? I didn't do any rehab. He's like, he said he went hunting 2 weeks after he tore it. He just had a brace on his knee and couldn't bend his knee. And he was just like limping through the forest hunting. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, you weren't on crutches? And he's like, nah, I threw my crutches away like 8 days after surgery. And I
Yeah,
was like,
I'm sure
oh,
Branch is a cyborg. I spoke to him a couple of days ago on one of the calls with Gasp, and I said, how's because he tore his Achilles tendon, didn't he? He's like, yeah, they're training already, man. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. He said, just keep working on your range. And once your heel touches your butt, you can put a bar on your back. That's what he said. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then I said to him, I think I saw him like a year later, I saw him at FIBO and he's like, how's the leg? And I was like, it's pretty good, and I said, I still have a lot of pain though. Like, I'm amazed that you didn't have that. And he's like, what do you mean? And I go, well, you like won the Arnold like 7 months after you tore it. He's like, oh yeah, I was in absolute agony constantly. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he's
And I
fucking
go,
crazy,
oh,
man.
I was under the impression you were training like you were, I mean, you won the Arnold, so I thought you were back to training, like you rehabbed it. And he's like, oh, I was doing 100 rep leg extensions with that leg and 2 plate squats and everything hurt, and it was just the most brutal thing, but I just did it.
Just did it
And then
anyway.
I realized, oh, he just forced it. He didn't like, because I was under the
Yeah.
impression like, oh, his leg healed so well, you
Mm.
know? It's like, no, it's just Branch.
Well, Branch was your doctor as well, wasn't he, for your elbow
Yeah, so I ruptured my tricep rod and had to reattach. Unfortunately, it's not healing so great. But I was supposed to train legs with Branch when he came to Durham to train. But for whatever reason, he wanted to train arms. And obviously, I'm not arguing with Branch. If he wants to train arms, he wants to train arms. But I said, like, I can't really do much for triceps because I just had surgery on it like a few months back. He's like, give me a look at that arm, man. And he's like, yeah, that doesn't look good. You need to see your surgeon shut the fucker out. That was it. And then we did some triceps and biceps. But yeah, it wasn't the best of work. But I wasn't going to like miss up a chance to not train with Branch. So I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
did some
yeah.
piss poor little weights and stuff. So at least
Well,
we got a session in.
he's got a lot of experience with the injuries, so
Yeah.
very motivating.
Yeah, he's still very, very intense guy. I mean, even though he's retired and stuff, he still looked real well. And I mentioned this to Dan, like, we did a meet and greet and stuff and all that kind of stuff and meeting the fans and a bit of gasp event. And then, but like, as soon as it was time to train, face just like changed as if he just like switched it on. It was just like it was just like that. Very, very inspiring to see it. A lot of people noticed it as well. He's like literally like two different people, which
Yeah,
I always say that if you're the same person you are in the gym as you are outside the gym, you're probably not as focused as you need to be, type of thing.
yeah, probably true.
Um,
You know,
I mean,
he
again,
could.
I'm not saying that everybody has to be going around, swearing and smashing their head through the wall and doing fucking smelling salts and stuff. But I don't know if this is one question I was going to ask you, Ron. I actually thought West Court Iron was older than 8 years. I thought it was like it's way back.
No, no,
But
yeah.
but but being a gym owner yourself, have you seen like the kind of switch from I hate to say the old school way of training because it's kind of what we bang on about on this podcast, but how it's kind of changed and you don't see as many people kind of going for it. Are you still seeing that a lot in your gym, or is it kind of
I, I think that we're kind of like in a bit of an exception. Um, we're kind of an exception because we attract like a lot of the like our industry, like we're very in our area, like in Vancouver, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of fancy gyms. A lot of people want their towel service. Like Vancouver's a very, you know, Starbucks and that like it's not a hardcore bodybuilding city like when we
Yeah,
think of it, but we attract all of those people. So when you come to our gym, like I love how hard people train at our gym. And we do see a lot of the new, like obviously there's the younger competitors that got their tripods and everything, but I think our gym, just the atmosphere, it demands like they're very respectful. We don't really get complaints. I'll see the odd tripod, but they're out of the way and nobody's complaining about it, and it
yeah.
doesn't cause us any issue. And there's lots of people training really hard. And I think that the young generation now, like they are, I totally get it. We do the same, kind of criticism of what they're wasting their time on now. But there are a lot of people out there that do want to train really hard still, and we see them, and I'm encouraged by it. And like I still meet young kids that are, you know, 19 years old and they've seen blood and guts, and they got questions for me about the 90s because they know I met so and so, and and that's really cool, and I'm glad that that's out there. I mean, I might see it a little more than most gym owners because of just how our gym is with the culture, but it is out there still, so I'm encouraged by it.
That's good to hear that we still have some hardcore old school guys kind of coming through. Don't get me wrong, we have a bunch of guys at Ultraflex who train really hard, but we do see a lot
Yeah,
of that. Sometimes people are actually going to fall asleep in the middle of training. But again, myself and Dan and Leroy have said this: if you're in the gym, we're on your side. But I don't see as much of the people doing heavy squats and deadlifts and barbell rolls and T
right.
bars and stuff. It's quite rare these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, I do know what you mean. Our racks are always full though, which is good. I'm not squatting heavy anymore, so it's good to see some people in there.
So how have you found the kind of, because actually, Ron, where does Rep 300 come from? Where does that nickname come from? I'm guessing it's something to do with 300 pounds. It's got to be.
Yeah, so that's an old message board name. So back in like 99, 2000, um with like the old message boards Get Big and Muscle Mayhem and like that stuff, I used to go on the boards back then and we'd chat it up with each other, talking about cycles and what's going on, and that was back in the days when like the odd time Tom Prince or Lee Priest would come on the board and we'd be like, "Oh my God, Tom Prince is chiming in on this thread." And it was like this mind-blowing encounter with the pros that, in 99, 2000, it just, a lot of people never got to meet the pros or talk to the pros. And Jay Cutler would come on occasionally and he would add like a comment. And you'd just be like, man, that's Jay. That's actually Jay. And Jay's name was Cuts 260. And then Dave Palumbo was Huge 285.
Yeah, I remember that actually because I was on all the
And
boards back then.
yeah, and so my initials are REP. And I was trying to get to 300 pounds. So I just put Rep 300. And that was just what I went with for a screen name. And it like, those weird avatars that we gave ourselves back then, they weirdly stuck. Like I remember 2002 when I met Jay Cutler for the first time it was 2003. I met Jay Cutler for the first time at the Olympia. And I shook his hand and I said, I'm Rep 300 because you're not using your real name. And he goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, great to meet you," because we had chatted on the boards. So, like this weird thing where that became your name to certain people, you know? And guys would come up, "I'm John 97," or you know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, like that was this weird era where that was just beginning. And Rep 300 just kind of stuck with me. And I had people call me Rep 300. I'd run into people at the Olympia. They'd be like, "Hey, Rep 300." And it was just this, kind of weird thing. And just became my little name. And then when Instagram came along, I thought, there we go. That's who I am, I guess. So that's all it was, just my initials and my body weight at the time, trying to get to the 300 pounds. So,
So how have you found obviously because you have downsized a lot. And I saw you at Dino's gym and you looked like you were in real good shape, like really lean and stuff. Like, how have you kind of transitioned from being 300 pounds to kind of scaling it back and stuff? And
Yeah, so I'm about 240 now. I'm like 238, 242 in that range every morning. And I feel fantastic. And the getting really lean and staying really lean thing has actually been just easy because like forcing down the food was always the hard thing to maintain the body weight, you know? Like I was always the type of guy where, I'd be 320 and I'd miss a meal and I'd be 315. I'd be like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah,
Like,
that's
God,
done.
like, you miss one meal, you're down 5, 6 pounds. You have a day where you don't quite, get your water in. And, that, so maintaining that extremely high maintenance body weight was always such a chore. And when it came to like, okay, I'm going to downsize now, all I did was like, okay, I'm just going to like eat 4 times a day and just see what happens. And I just cut back on my food and just ate comfortably and dropped like obviously quit running stacks and stuff. I just went to TRT and everything, but like I was down to 275 within a couple, like probably within a year and a half or two. I was 275, and then to get from there down to 240 has been like just you know adding in a bit of cardio and making sure I don't eat too much pizza because I'm like that permanent muscle that you have, Ant. Like if I have a weekend where I go away with Dusty and eat a bunch of burgers on the road, I come back like 10 pounds heavier and just covered in veins.
Yeah.
Like I just like it's like fill out. And I get home, I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting big again. I eat too many calories. So but yeah, I'm just trying to stay lighter and all that stuff. But it's fun and I feel great and you know, just try and train hard and you know, I don't know, live another day.
Yeah, a couple of people have mentioned because obviously when I injured my arm, I wasn't really eating much type of thing because the training wasn't demanding enough and stuff. And the last maybe month or so, I have started like eating a little bit more food and everything. And then people are like, "Oh yeah, like are you back on the gear and stuff?" Like, no, just put some
Right,
food back.
right.
I think people underestimate the power of like just eating some food. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just putting food in, and once you've been a certain size for a long period of time, it's like, it just your body kind of wants to do that. You fill back out
yeah.
pretty quickly. You know.
20 plus 20 plus years of heavy training just doesn't like disappear overnight, does it? I think that's what most
Yeah,
people don't
yeah. It
understand.
doesn't
Yeah.
totally disappear. Hey,
It's that new shit. That
what's
new.
the go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying it's the new muscle that you've never had. That's what you got to fight for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can.
What what's the heaviest you guys ever got? Like, are you 320 right now, Dan? Is that what he said?
Nah, I'm on like 300 now. I've been 315, and
Oh yeah, okay.
I felt gross. Like, fuck.
Especially the first time you hit
Oh, I remember
315.
like the first time 290 was like I can get above 300 on less food than when I first hit like 280.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
also just before Christmas, we got robbed and they stole my fucking CPAP.
Oh no. So somebody's out there sleeping really
So I
good.
reckon
Some
someone
feet.
must have made like a crack pipe out of it by now. Like it has,
Yeah, that's been
no one's,
modded. That's
yeah,
been
it's
modded into a smoking device.
yeah. And I'm just annoyed that they haven't brought it round to share it with me, really.
It's like there'd be some random CPAP at a pawn shop in like Newcastle.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm only 5'6" one, so I was only like 255 as the heaviest I got, and that was
Yeah,
horrendous for me.
that's
But I'm only like five
that's
six, so
plenty. What about you, Leroy? How heavy did you get back in the day?
We worked on stone pounds, so I think the heaviest I ever got was 18 stone. I mean, I'm 5'9", so 18 stone.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that? Go on,
let's work that out for our American viewers.
Go
I think
on.
it's two. I actually think it's 252, so 18 times
Yeah, it's 252 because
two
it's like
fifty
six.
two, Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt I didn't feel good at all. Just walking from A to B, I was huffing and puffing. And,
You know,
That's
um,
funny.
when you've got to get
My
your stock on in one breath, otherwise you're fucked. Where there's
yeah,
start
yeah,
again, you have to
as
like breathe in and try and like hook it on. And if you miss, like you've got to start again. You got to like,
I
That's
I
what.
I'll
Sorry, go on.
tell you a funny little music reference. As a Canadian, my initial introduction to the term stone was when I was like, about 13, I got really into music. And I was listening to old AC/DC records because they're like my favorite band now. But I grew up like, exploring the AC/DC catalog. And when I heard Whole Lotta Rosie, and he says she gives it all she got, weighing in at 19 stone, I remember thinking like, what's that? And I went and looked it up. Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's a 300-pound woman.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
women.
okay,
A
yeah,
big
that's a lot of woman.
woman.
Just
Older woman.
280-pound woman or whatever. So yeah, weighing in. So you were almost 19 stone, Leroy. You were almost a whole lot of Rosie. So yeah.
Yeah, UK tends to be stone, Europe tends to be kilos, and
Yeah.
US tends to be pounds. Yeah.
When I hear stone, I think of like, for some reason, I think of rugby players because I guess I knew some that spoke in stone, older guys. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
stones and plates. We don't go
Yeah.
by how many
Yeah.
kilos on the bar. We go by plates.
Yeah,
5 plates,
yeah.
4 plates.
Yeah, yeah.
That is
I had
definitely a
that
thing.
conversation the other day with someone when he was telling me his deadlift. He's like, "Oh, I'm at deadlift like 220." I was like, "Well, how
What
many
the fuck's
plates
that?
is that here? How many?"
Right.
We're like, yeah, we're always like, "Oh, 4.5 plates," or like, "Can you incline 4 plates?" And people are like, "What does that mean?" Yeah, we're all the shit in the UK,
It's
unfortunately.
that's definitely. I don't know whether they do it elsewhere. You only count one side, and it's the plates and fractions of that plate.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's no
Yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you could say 2.5 because obviously we're not clever enough to go beyond like
And
four.
we don't include the barn either. The
No,
barn's
four and a
free.
half.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't
Two and
include
a
the.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? What is it in the US, Ron, where you do like a plate, like a biscuit, a dime, like a quarter, like
Oh
I've
yeah.
always
what?
said, yeah, I don't know. I've always said plates. I think most people talk, they say, oh, I'll bench 4 plates or whatever, like I've always talked like that. That's, 3 plate, 2 plates, that's how we talk. I know that in Canada, growing up in Canada, we did have that weird overlap because we went metric in 1977, I think. So you got that weird thing in Canada where we're a metric country officially, but I grew up on a farm, so we had 2 sets of tools. We had the imperial tools and the metric tools. And so I'm one of those people that can do everything in both, which isn't common. You know what I mean? My generation can speak pounds, ounces, anything. And then you meet the Americans and they don't know anything about a kilo. Like there's nothing. As soon as you cross the border, they don't know what a kilo is at all. So it's interesting. But you'd see the odd gym that would have 20-kilo plates. And then it would have like 45-pound plates and 20-kilo plates mixed together. So
Yeah.
you'd have to make sure if you're benching or something, you have to make sure your plates match.
Here's the thing: they make the 20.1 and then there's the 20s.
Yeah.
They just not bothered. Are they the same? Like it's always.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's
yeah.
like they make them for one side. So like they either make a 45-pound plate and then it's 20.1 kilos, or they make a 20-kilo plate and it's 44 pounds. Yeah. Or whatever it is. It just
Yeah, it's
depends.
44 and 20 in our gym, but we do have, which is a pet hate of mine. I don't know if you as a gym owner, Ron, we have 25-kilo plates, which
Yeah, fuck
they,
those.
they don't get used. They're kind of classed
No.
as bad luck.
Yeah. It's like some gyms have some, do you have any 100-pound plates?
No, because they're a massive ball. If someone puts one on the floor, you just can't pick it up.
We do have some
Yeah.
50 kilos. We do have some 50. What is that then? What that's
Yeah, it's like 110 or 50 kilo. Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah.
108-pound plate. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen those 100-pound plates and they seem like they might be a good idea in like a really hardcore gym where guys are really strong, but they wind up just being a huge pain in the ass for other people if they get put in the wrong place. So,
Yeah. Just one on the eating as well, Ron, because there's a big thing in kind of the UK now where everybody's saying like, you shouldn't force feed. You should only eat when you're hungry. Like when you were
wow.
coming up, yeah, we're kind of trying to hit that one home as well. Like Dan says, if he ate when he was hungry, he would like eat once a day, like or
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people can generally agree with me here, but I love science. I love learning. Like I love when data comes out. Like I'm all about that. But people get so excited about a new little thing that like was the study done on lifters that are already 250 pounds? You know, was the data on people that have already been training for 10 years? Like, you know, like all this stuff comes out and we try to work it into our training. But at the end of the day, have you been really big? Have you been really strong? Like, do you know what it's like to try to add another plate to your squat? Like, if you don't have any of that experience, then it's really difficult for you to make proper use of, you know, this new information you're trying to feed people.
Well,
And
I go straight to the methodology because obviously it's never perfect. It can't be perfect.
right,
You're dealing
right.
with you're dealing with humans. But so many
Yeah.
that they're reading a synopsis and being fact.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a
Mm-hmm.
fact. Which you find me one thing says something, I'm pretty sure I can find you something that says the opposite. And just
Yeah.
you put your own experiences into that. And then people say, oh, it's bro science. And it's like, well, if you're not an idiot, bro science is still a research project of your own, right?
Yeah, yeah. Bodybuilders have done, I'm really glad that we're getting a certain amount of recognition now from, you know, other communities, but because I've heard some people from, you know, the medical community or the sports science community or whatever, um, who have spoken positively about bodybuilding in in terms of it being um like we were like the test ground for a lot of what's going on now in high level athletics, and not just with drugs, but with all sorts of stuff. And there's all sorts of things that have come from the bodybuilding world, especially with nutrition, that other athletes are now, it's like standard fare. And, you know, so I really think bodybuilding deserves some credit for kind of all the ground we broke. They're completely untested realm. Like nobody knew what, like it's not like we knew what grew muscle before we started bodybuilding. That's how we found out, you know, like the real pioneers of a lot of stuff come from the bodybuilding competitive world. And so I think we deserve you know, we deserve credit for that.
Yeah, I think definitely with the because I know quite a lot of reasonably high level fighters, and their nutrition knowledge is shit. Like
Surprising,
in comparison,
surprising,
not shit, but in comparison.
strangely like, yeah, strangely void of a lot of stuff. Yeah. I know what you mean. I've had people come to me with just basic questions, and I'm like, wow, you're like I've talked to athletes that are professionals in other sports, and they've asked me questions that, like, you know, like professional NHL hockey players that work with the best coaches and they're paid millions of dollars. And I'm telling them that creatine is actually okay for them to take. And I'm like, how do you not know this? How did your team not have you mandated to use creatine?
Mm.
Like, how is this not a thing that just comes checklist day one? Every single one of you guys is going to be on creatine. Like, it blows my mind when I meet somebody like that, but it still happens, you know? So there's still long ways to go in some of these areas.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
bodybuilders have less to rely on, don't you? Like diet's such a huge part of it. We can't like make up for it in skill as such or whatever. Like or in hockey,
Right.
in
Yeah.
hockey the variants are infinite, aren't they? We don't have as
Yeah.
many tools.
Yeah. You know, we have all seen those types of athletes. Like I remember bartending back in the day, and like some of the pro hockey players that I knew in my city, it'd be like chain smoking at my bar, like just chain smoking and pounding shots, and then the next day they're on TV scoring goals, and it's like, man, and that was like 20 years ago, you know. But
Mm.
like like bodybuilding never had that, you know. So it's just different world.
We kept it nice and simple, right?
Yeah.
And it's, even today is, there's four links, a chain with four links: your nutrition plus your vitamins and minerals, which includes your
Yeah.
gear, your
Yeah.
rest and recuperation, your training, and then you obviously your food.
Yeah.
So four links. That's all we had. Four links.
Yeah.
Fucked about one of them links, and the chain was broke. So we kept it secret. We kept it simple, nice and simple. And that's not because we're simple people, but we kept it like that, or it's been kept like that for generations. So
Yeah.
what it's not broken. So why try and fix it?
No, no. It is very.
Yeah,
So
I,
I I always tell people that bodybuilding should be like software that can run in the background. Like when you have Windows open on your computer. Like and I say that to some of the younger bodybuilders that are getting into competing, and um they say stuff like, like, oh, I can't do that right now because I'm doing a show. I'm like, well, you should be able to do a bunch of stuff while you're doing a show. Like you should be able to work a job, and you should be able to like function as a human, and you should be able to like raise your kid, and you should be able to do just because you have to eat X meals a day and do some cardio, that's just in the background stuff. Like you should be able to function, you know what I mean? And just keep it simple and don't worry so much about it,
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Have you found, I mean, from your opinion, some of the best bodybuilders are some of them that just let everything just wash over them. They're so chill,
Yeah,
and
totally.
they're just nothing really touches them. They're kind of now not really up and down, and everything's just that great video of like Nick Walker when he wakes up and he just sits in his garden and just stares at a bush for half an hour, like drinking it. It's just nothing's
Yeah.
touching that guy.
No, there's something, yeah, just like, or another thing like how good Sam Sulek just did in his show. Everyone was paying attention to Sam Sulek this weekend. He looked great. And I like Sam Sulek. I met him. He's a great kid. But I loved how he did really well because he just did it himself. And he
Yeah,
didn't like,
people are really shocked that he didn't have a coach. And I just said, yeah, you can actually, if you want to, you can do it yourself. You don't have to
yeah,
have a
you
coach.
can do it yourself. Like
Yeah,
I actually had someone approach me. They said, "Hey, would you help me because I helped him for a show like a few years ago." And then like he tried out a couple coaches, and he's been busy and had a kid and stuff. And he just hit me up. He said, "Hey, would you prep me for another show?" And I think he's a pretty smart guy, this friend of mine. And I said, "Well, yeah, I would help you for another show, but have you ever thought of just doing your own prep?" And he goes, "Why would you suggest that?" And I was like, "I don't know, because you've worked with 3 different coaches and you're a really smart guy. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I'll help you if you want." But he was just like, it hadn't even occurred to him.
Mm.
He was like, huh.
Fashion, isn't it? It's fashion that for a lot of lads have a coach and a nutritionist and an arse wiper and a waterist and a towel carrier because it's fashion.
Right.
They can't think for themselves, unfortunately. It's a lot of them can't. A lot of them can't. And you're right. They have the knowledge. They've been through it for years. They've competed so many times. They know their body inside out, upside down, back to front. So yeah, I agree there. They just don't. They don't look at that avenue straight away. The first thing they do is look out.
Yeah. And then maybe that makes me a terrible businessman that I suggested he do his own prep. But at the same time, I was just like looking out for him. Like, you might love it. Like I did my own prep. Like I did 24 shows and I didn't have a coach for all of them. I worked
yeah,
with Aceto for a bunch of shows. And then Chad Nichols helped me for a couple shows. I did a bunch of shows myself, and I just threw it out there. Like maybe you do your own. I don't know. And I could tell it just hadn't even like
Mm.
he was like, I'm gonna have to think about that. Like, but like, hey, I remember back in the day, like doing my own, like, I remember my first show. I just said to a friend of mine, like, what do you think of this diet? Like, and he goes, "Oh, it looks good to start." I was like, okay. And that was just like how I started my first diet. He goes, "Oh, just make sure you lose weight every week." And that was it. And just like went from there, and I think people are very intimidated by the process. And obviously, I coach people and I love to help people and I love to be of use to people. But maybe you don't need a coach. Maybe you should do a show by yourself and see what it's like. It's a very interesting experience to do your own prep. You learn a lot about yourself and you have to make decisions and you might really love it,
Mm.
you know?
I just always melted at the end.
Sorry?
I always melted at the end, and not in the way that you'd think. I'd just do more.
Right.
Like I'd do all right at like a regional, and then just come as like a little withered wheelchair twig by the end.
Right, right.
So
I gotta be peeled.
yeah, I'd be like, well, you won the regional. Why don't you stay the same? No, I must be more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I've got Ant for that. He's the one who stops me from just emaciating myself.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you're training together, you know what I mean? You notice if the strength takes a bomb, the strength's got to stay there. as good as it can.
Yeah, I had
you
this.
know?
I had this conversation with James a couple of days ago. Actually, he was going to hop on tonight, but I think he was training or something earlier, and he said I might hit you. But he was saying like we had the conversation that as much as it like takes mental fortitude to push, because we are just programmed to push, 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 push. It does take that like mental kind of discipline to pull back as well, and I think that's what we're not very good at. Unfortunately, I was never. Yeah, just like looking back, you don't need to be doing like 6 to 8 rep heavy as shit stuff like 2 weeks out. You're just kind of running yourself into the ground, aren't you? I mean, I've had contest press where I've been doing like 2 hours of cardio a day out. Like that's not going to do anything kind of beneficial, is it really? Because you think you just need to do more, 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 more.
Yeah.
So where you need
I
your
know.
buddy, your training partner, a good buddy,
Yeah.
a good training partner, someone you can listen to.
Yeah.
You know, he may not be your coach, but he's your buddy, he's your training partner. He's the
Right.
person that's going to tell you. He's not going to blow smoke up your ass. He's going to tell you to lay back or add on, or he's going to be honest with you. You do need a couple of people out around you.
Yeah.
Not a whole
Yeah.
entourage.
I remember some of my best memories are like, my first couple of shows were out of the home gym of mine where I grew up, and, I was only like 21 doing my, first show. And I remember the other guys in the gym, like I didn't have a coach, but the other guys in the gym, like you finish training, they'd be a couple guys kind of gather around and you hit some shots in the mirror and, and you don't have a coach, but your training partners and the guys that train the same time of day as you, they're like, yeah, that's new. That wasn't there last week. That's new. Like, and just the excitement of like, okay, I got this, I don't know. There's a point where you do enough shows that the mystery's gone, and it's very like it changes, it becomes something else. But those first few shows where you're discovering like, you're getting your glutes ripped for the first time. You're seeing strided quads for the first time. You're starting to be like, holy crap, I didn't realize I was going to look like this. That whole exciting thing. Like I really, really think that was like one of the, one of the highlights of being a bodybuilder is that whole like adventure, I like to look back on it like that.
I see that on the opposite foot more now, where they're like, I've dieted all my muscle away. I'm like, no, no, that was the muscle.
That was a muscle. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that was what you had? Can you imagine trying to do it now, like with the people in the gym, like going upstairs or whatever, getting your kit off everyone, being like, "Oh, what you doing?" And everyone would just be going, "That's shit," and then someone else would go, "No, that shit." Was like, "No,
Yeah.
I read a paper, that shit," and then you'd be like, "Oh my God, everything's shit. What do I do?"
Yeah. 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 I mean, I just remember being such an oddball, like I mean, in the 90s, if you took a Tupperware dish with food in it somewhere, people had a lot of questions. They were like, "Oh, why do you have like?" It was not normal to carry food with you. Like, whoa, why do you have a dish with food in it? Like, it was just completely foreign to people. Like, and now everyone's got the day bag and they've got all their food and they got their meals and it's totally normal. But I just remember how odd it was and just fucking weird to people that you had to carry a meal. You'd whip a meal out somewhere and start eating, and people would just be like,
Oh, I'd fucking love that. I loved that.
"Yeah, it was."
I loved
But
that.
that was also part of the attraction was we we
Yeah.
we were like kind of oddballs. Like we wanted to be. We wanted
People
to
were
be
like
weird.
offended. They were offended. What do you mean you don't want to eat my toad in the hole?
Right, right, right. I remember going to
Yeah,
lots of
I used to
events.
like that. I used to like that,
You know,
like separating yourself from the masses and just having your own kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'd still make a
Yeah.
point of like if it's my friend's birthday, a close friend, well, I will go to the meal. I just won't eat.
Right,
I just won't eat.
right. Yeah, yeah. Just
I'm
eat
not
in the
miss
car. I
I'm not
would
missing out.
I would never make a scene of it. I was always like the quiet, like kind of a ninja. Like I would sneak away, eat my food, come right back. People would be like, "Aren't you gonna eat?" I'd be like, "Oh, I already ate." They'd be like, "Oh," just hit them with that. I was pretty good at that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Well, the
I
never
just spoke.
saying
I just spoke to somebody on the way here. I just finished the gym, and there was an event that somebody wanted to go to. And he said, "Oh, I can't go because I got to eat my meal." I said, "Well, just take it with you. Like you can sneak off into the toilet and or restroom, Ron, if you got what you got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
restroom, and just eat your meal. It takes 5 minutes to just Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Blend
Can't
it.
go, can't go.
Blend it. Blend tuna.
Yeah, blend it. Blend it. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking blend it. Pussies.
Right, Ron, with you being a fellow kind of gym owner, we've got a few gym owner questions for yourself because I know you're a
Yes.
massive equipment fanatic as well.
Right. Okay.
So, what is your favorite like brand of equipment? And you're probably going to say a different kind of piece of equipment or brand for each body part. I'm interested in your thoughts on.
Well,
Uh,
I've evolved on the equipment thing a little bit. Um, when we first opened, I was really obsessed with getting certain pieces. Like I want this piece and this piece and this piece, which is great. It really helped to have direction, and it really helped us to build a great gym and equip it really well. But now, because I've been a gym owner now for a while, you start to appreciate other elements. It's not just because you have, a lot of the equipment I wanted was because I had like some kind of romantic attachment to that piece as a bodybuilder, Like I want this
yeah,
leg press, I want a Cybex leg press because that's what Dorian used in Blood and Guts, like there's that, right? There's a bit of that in the young gym owner that I was. And then as you get older, you're like, I want pieces that don't fucking break.
yeah. I
And
knew you were
you
going to say that. I knew you were going to say
and
that.
you start to like realize that certain brands are just not going to last in your gym.
Yeah,
And so now, I mean, like Cybex stuff, Hammer Strength, of course, like Hammer Strength owns the durability market. They completely and absolutely crush and destroy every other brand on durability and how long that piece will last. One moving part, that hammer row will last for 40 fucking years. And it can have all of you guys yanking on it for 40 years and probably not need anything fixed on it. Um, we bought some Panada because a lot of people liked it. We were interested. It looked nice. There's a bunch, some felt nice. There was some good lines on some of the pull. We had 5 pieces in our gym. All 5 pieces broke repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again. I had to get bolts fabricated so that they didn't break because all the replacement bolts kept breaking. Stuff like that. Because people in our gym put 6 plates on everything.
yeah,
So if you're training at, fluffy nightclub gym, maybe certain equipment lasts longer. You start having some, big heavy hitters in there, putting 5 plates aside. Maybe it doesn't last as long. You got 40 or 50 heavy hitters in there training like that every day. All of a sudden, that piece is broken weekly. So we run into stuff like that. Um, Also, I remember when we first opened, I was like, I don't want any Life Fitness because Life Fitness is like a fitness brand. I just want to stick. And now I have like an appreciation for how high quality Life Fitness stuff is. Like if there's a Life Fitness leg curl, I'm totally fine with that. That's a great piece. It's gonna last forever. Um, I love a lot of the Prime stuff, very specifically for bodybuilding reasons because of how we can manipulate the strength curve. It's very interesting, some of those pieces. Um, and yeah, I'm just always on the lookout for. I'm always willing to try something new. But I'm hard to impress because if you're not durable, man, you got some problems.
yeah. I
Well,
saw a lot of the Mega Mass stuff was kind of popping up, which looks really, really nice. But I saw a chest press and it literally had like 6 moving arms on it just for like a press, and I was just like, yeah, that's going to be an absolute nightmare to maintain.
Yeah, I think it was the press. I saw a press on Instagram the other day, and I counted 6 moving pivot points on each side. So there were 12 pivot points for a chest press. And I just thought, fuck. Like,
Yeah, how
gee,
complicated does
like,
it need to get? Like, it
yeah,
looks really cool,
yeah,
and members will probably
yeah.
think, oh, it's awesome. But
Plates moving up in the back and everything swinging everywhere. It's a big contraption. And all the comments too were like, oh, wow, look at that cool machine. And I'm like, this is what happens. And then the gym owners feel obligated to get the cool looking stuff because everyone's asking them, are you going to get that cool chest press? And then, you guys come in and train chest and Leroy fucking breaks it. and then it's out of order
Can you
for.
can you remember, Ron? Leroy, you might be able to remember this as well because obviously Dawes was sponsored by Hammer Strength. Can you remember that massive leg press that is called the H leg
Yeah,
The
press?
H
It was
press,
like
H
a
squat.
fucking big scaffolding thing. Like, have you ever used that, Ron? I never ever got to use it. I know. I think there's only like so many in the world. Like, what on earth was that? What was all that about? I mean,
Yeah,
what was the design idea behind that?
it's a novelty piece. I mean, Hammer only made it for a few years at first, and we actually owned one when we first opened the gym because it was in with the old equipment that we got. But I sold it to a collector because it was very impractical. And it's the type of piece where gym owners will brag about it. They'll go, "Look at this cool machine." But I mean, that's always been what that piece is for. It's just so gym owners can go, "Look at this cool machine." But
Yeah.
it's just a very glute dominant leg press. Like it's very the way it works, it's very glute dominant, and it just winds up being a coat hanger. You just
Takes up a
I
lot of
look
room
Yeah.
over.
as well, doesn't it?
I did
Yeah,
I did use it once, and overall I thought it was shit.
yeah,
But ultimately, like, oh, if you want to change the weight, I have to like climb down like 3 stories, and I'm not really sure how much
It's
weight.
not good when you're training legs, is it really?
And
To be
then
fair.
like, and also
yeah.
once I put enough weight on it, I felt like I was just gonna get flung off it. And
Right.
I just didn't need that in my life, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they made that piece to put it into Gold's Venice back in the day and just look awesome and have
Yeah.
people be like, "Oh,
Like a statue of
It
Hammer
was there to
yeah,
scare you. You walked in and you
yeah."
looked at that, you fucking scared you.
Big yellow and blue back in the Gold's Venice days when everything was yellow and blue,
Mm.
that big monster press in there. Yeah. Show up in the
Well,
magazines.
Here's one for everybody then. Other than the usual, not putting your plates away because we know that's kind of universal rule that everybody ignores across the world. Put your weights back after you've used them. What is your biggest pet peeve in the gym? Because I've got a one that's really pissing me off right now. I'll go last. Leroy,
Um,
unless it's
damn.
they're putting the weights away.
Well, hey, maybe we're super spoiled. We've really sort of trained the culture at our gym. One of the things I'll brag about is I can walk into our gym at any point in the day and the dumbbell rack is perfect. And I
Yeah,
just
our dumbbell
love
rack's
that.
always perfect.
Oh, I
Just not the
love
weight
that.
splits, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, the odd plate, yeah. But like I
Yeah.
love that the members at our gym care where the dumbbells go because it's very specific. Like, we've got like three
mm,
sets to 100 and then they go to 200 at the end. And so it's very nice to see that our members keep that in order. So that's a big deal. Um, I would say I I still I don't say anything because it's just too widespread. I just let it go. I used to care, but I can't wrap my head around people taking their shoes off and walk around in their socks. I'm like, why do you have to take your shoes off? You're in a gym. Why do you want to be on the floor when you're bare sock? I don't get it. I don't get the
Chris
training
Bumstead's
barefoot
fault,
thing.
unfortunately. It's
I
Chris
know
Bumstead's
Bumstead
fault, yeah.
trains in his white socks, and that's somehow better than training in your $150 Nikes. I don't get it. And
yeah.
I could understand if it's for leg day. I can maybe understand, but I get guys walking around in the gym with socks doing chest. And I'm like, guys, you drop a dumbbell on your toe, like you're not in shoes.
yeah,
It states
and
on
I
our, please wear suitable
yeah,
footwear. And
yeah,
we have
and I
had it
know
happen a few times, unfortunately.
yeah, and I know that like a regular shoe is not going to protect your foot of damage, but I'll tell you what a regular shoe will do. It will keep blood from splattering everywhere because if you're just wearing a sock, that's what you're going to get. And I know a guy, here's a great story. He was pulling plates off the leg press and he dropped a plate. And he was
Oh,
wearing a pair of Vans. So he just had Vans skate shoes on and it landed on his big toe. And he knew instantly that he broke his toe. Like he instantly, he's like, fuck, my toe's fucked. So he limps to the back, starts to take his shoe off and sees his sock is all red. So he's like, oh God. So he puts his shoe back on, drives to the hospital. They take his shoe off, they cut his sock off. His toe, the plate landed right on the knuckle of his big toe, and it just popped his toe off. It was just completely off of his foot. The only thing connected was the skin on the bottom of the toe. So like it was like when you open a chicken wing and you see the white knuckle,
Oh.
that's what he saw. It was just boom, like just exploded in his fucking shoe. So they sewed his toe back on, reattached it and everything. But
Yeah,
like,
that actually happened to someone I know as well with 25 kilo disc. Maybe that's where the bad luck for the 25 kilos. Literally, like took his toe off. It was in his sock.
But
oh,
then the sock, like it kept it in the right place.
right, right.
Solid. It did him a solid. If he wasn't wearing the bands, it would have been right through. See, it's just that little millimeter.
That little bit, yeah. But we like I got there's one guy at the gym that he's a great dude, but he deadlifts in his socks, and I don't give him a hard time anymore. I just let him deadlift in his socks. But he like came out of the bathroom the other day in his socks. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, well, I take a piss. And I go, you went into the bathroom in your socks? He's like, oh, I wasn't thinking. And I was like, dude, like, do you like I don't understand this conversation has to even happen. Don't walk around in the don't go to a urinal in your socks. Have you looked at the floor at the urinal? I don't care how clean your bathroom is. Like, fuck. And some people just something's not going off in their head. There's not, oh, I never thought. I'm like, dude, you're standing in other people's piss spray in your socks, and then you're walking out on the floor and getting on
everyone
there.
else.
Yeah, like so it drives me crazy. Just oblivious. People just oblivious. Like, oh, never occurred to me. So
I would have taken it that he had pissed on me. I would have been, you have pissed on me.
you have pissed on me, yeah.
And so now I must return the favor.
Yes.
So Ron's is the socks. What's yours, Dan?
Mate, just people.
I knew you were going to say that. There's other people in the gym.
Just
other
breathing,
people.
being there,
Yeah,
just
it's
existing.
in and out, consistent. Oh, it's gross. Shit music is up there for me. I mean, if I'm training on my own, I've got my headphones.
Right.
But just something. I don't care whether it's like rap or like metal or like or drum and bass. Just like something. Just
something. Yeah.
something, you know. So if it comes in and there's like a Spice Girls remix, well, it does genuinely upset me. I'm not gonna lie. It does actually upset me.
Yeah.
Like if you're there on your own, it's fine. But if there's a group of you, you're like spotting or there's some conversation of usually slagging each other off because we're British.
Yeah.
You need that.
Yeah, you're never nice to each other. I don't expect that.
Oh no, no, the more horrible you are, the better friends you are.
That's how English guys motivate each other. It's just constant insults.
Yeah, if you're like
the bigger the insult, the pallier we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you remember, Dan, that a few months back when we went to James's gym and I did a joke on Instagram like saying like you were late for training and I fucked you off and I didn't want to speak to you anymore. Like everybody took it real serious and like sending me messages saying, "Oh, I hope you and Dan are okay." And like this is like standard procedure. That's what we do.
What can he do to make up for this?
Yeah. People were like, "Oh, it's really sorry. You've been friends for so long," and you're like, "Oh, you've not understood at all."
Yeah.
So Dan's a shit music. Come on, Leroy, you got to have something.
Yeah.
I do remember there was one time somebody was brushing his hair and you went like, he put his comb in his pocket like.
I mean, actually, there's definitely some Leroy stories about Temple that you can't say. I know those I'm getting told.
Aye.
I know.
I might not have heard these ones actually.
There's definitely a phone story in there, but I don't think that's for the.
Oh, I bet. Hey, I got a question. I got a question for Leroy. I know back in the day when you and Dawes trained, you would close the gym to train, right? Is that actually what you did most of the time?
Yeah, the gym wouldn't open till 12, so we trained 10,
right?
Morning.
Yeah. Did you ever train when it was open? Was there ever like you make the odd day you had to train when it was open, or was there just never a time?
No, never. Never.
Really?
Yeah.
And how crowded would Temple get back in the day?
Oh, it was down. Did you ever get?
Oh yeah.
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 So
I lucky enough. I got to train there a few times. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So the nickname was the dungeon because it was down on the ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was that crack. The water would be flowing off the mirrors. You couldn't see. So it'd be that steamed up.
Yeah.
You'd have periods where it was mega busy. And And the good thing about it was because it was so fucking cold down there, the more people that come down, the warmer you got, which was good. In the winter, you prayed for people to come down, or the rats would come and join you and train with you to keep you warm.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah,
No.
it did get busy, but that just added to the atmosphere. Which was a good atmosphere.
I got to train there a few times, and I remember the one time we were training chest, and we couldn't even see ourselves in the mirror at the dumbbell area. It was just like running down the mirror, and yeah, it was busy in there. So I just wondered if you guys always closed.
I trained there body power weekend one weekend, and like you said, the walls were dripping with water. Even the machines, like he was slipping off the hammer strength row and stuff. It was pretty dangerous, to be fair.
And I remember I could smell like French fries. Rat piss and French fries. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. There's like, it was crazy. What a crazy setup that basement was.
Did anybody see the video of Sci-Fan going in not too long back?
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that, Leroy?
No.
Yes, I actually opened the door, the old door, and went down, and some kind of like, is it a restaurant or something now?
Yeah,
it's turned into a restaurant now. Yeah,
some waiters were like, "Hey, you can't come in here," and they were like shushing them out. But yeah, it was a pretty cool video. He went down to the temple.
He went down like the back, like it's something else now. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the upstairs is like a restaurant, so it was like the storage room for like the restaurant.
Oh,
basically, Sai like broke and entered and went.
Yeah, he broke it.
He got thrown out.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
Come on, Leroy, give us your biggest pet peeve in the gym.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a few, but the latest one is people sat on the fucking machine when they've done their sets, either looking at their watch because they've got a 15-minute rest pause, or they're fucking doing a. It's not called a drop set. Well, they've renamed it now. It's no longer called a drop set. What's it called? A fucking back set or
back
cluster set maybe. Cluster set. Yeah. There's loads of things terminology now, isn't it? Cluster set kind of.
Yeah, your man set up his fucking tripod and he sat there. I wanted to do leg extensions and he sat there, fucking watching. I said, "How long is your rest pause? How long you break?" He was all another 2 minutes. I said, "Get off." I took the fucking plates off his machine and gone, I can't be doing that, man. It takes. Listen, if you're doing 4 sets, all right. So let's say you're not going to take me to do a set, but let's say a minute a set and a minute resting while your buddies do. So 4 sets, 8 minutes. You should be off that machine. He'd done 1 fucking set, and 6 minutes later, we still sat there.
Yeah.
So that really ground my fucking gears. That did.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I appreciate the fact that they've come to train and they're paid to train and whatever. But if you're using a machine, you do your set, then get your fucking arse off and let somebody else jump on it, so you can have a walk around. Don't just sit there, get your phone out and start texting all the world to say how fucking hard you're training because you're not.
Yeah.
That is really that at the moment. That's really pissing me off. That is the fact that they think they can sit there,
especially when it's busy. Like it's just rude. Yeah. Just rude. Like
I'm not saying like when it's a busy gym, I'm not saying like rush your workout. But if it is busy and you know that you're sitting on your phone texting and stuff, it is a bit rude. It's a bit like, hey, just get it done and get off, because it does happen at Ultraflex a lot, unfortunately. You'll see guys literally on a machine for like 45 minutes on one machine.
I see.
They should be paying rent for that. They should be paying rent for it. You know what I mean? Rent the fucking machine out for the day.
I do see people where they will, and I guess I could see a reason why they would do it, but I get filming some of your sets. Like it's a new
I know what you're
tool
going to say, but I know exactly what you're going to say here.
For performance, like I get it. I would have filmed way more of my sets back in the day. Like instead of just asking people, "Hey, how did that set look?" I would have filmed and been like, "Oh, okay, my depth was good," you know. But I don't understand people who have to film every set of every workout. So if you're Nick Walker and you're doing a Road to the Olympia series and you're filming something every workout, I get that. If you've got something for content, you want to film something every workout, like a set of this or a set of that. But I see people that film every set of, like, they'll film every set of leg press, every set. And then the next workout, I see them film every set of leg press. And even go to their social media and look, and there's no sets of leg press posted. So I'm like, who are you filming these sets for? Are you going back and analyzing every set of leg press you've done, like your warm-up sets, everything, like every workout? That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
That seems like a misdirection of energy and focus. Like,
Yeah.
you did the set, you know how the set felt, you know how the set went. Like, you know what I mean? So I see people like overly filming, like collecting records of every single thing. It's almost like the logbook, but taken to its ultimate conclusion of just recording everything you do. And I just am like, whoa, that's a lot. That
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah,
a
I know
bit
what you
on the
mean. Well,
spectrum.
they do like even the warm ups. Like I don't know. Maybe if you did like the final heavy set, which we kind of tend to do. We understand we have to do a bit of social media and stuff, and brands and
Yeah.
sponsorships, and yeah. But maybe it's the heavy set that you do at the end. But the one I don't understand is where, and again, it's a little bit rude, I guess. Where so someone will film a set, then they'll watch it back while they're still on the machine. Then they'll film another set, then they'll watch it back. And this is how guys are on the machine for like 30 minutes just because they're watching it.
Yeah,
Watch
it
it
eats
when
up
you
a
go
lot of
home.
time.
Like, watch it like when you finish. So just have a little bit of, gym etiquette.
We've gone
maybe
too
someone's
polite,
waiting for that.
and we've gone too
maybe.
polite.
To be honest, very rarely I will go over to somebody and say, like, how many sets do you have left? I will just wait. But then, sometimes you think, Jesus, Sudi, you can't have like many sets left. Especially right now with my injured arm. And we have a ton of equipment at Oriflex and you can jump on anything. But I have to be very specific right now. Just certain things I can't use and stuff. I'm thinking, like, Jesus, why have you been on that machine for like 30 minutes? It's like fucking insane. But again, it's just a different time now. Everything's a little bit different now. So
I do it politely, but I probably ask that question more because people are doing it worse. Like, how many sets have you got?
yeah.
I was like, you fucking joking? What do you mean?
What time of day do you guys train now?
I'm lucky, so yeah, I get to train. Like when I was a teacher, I'd have to train at peak time, and that also threw like my programming off. I refuse to wait for a machine. I will find a similar machine or try and mix and match because my mind doesn't stay on track long enough for me to wait for.
Right. Yeah.
I'm lucky I can train like when a reasonably like dead time.
Right.
I mean, I prefer to train at like 5, 6 p.m. But to be honest, Ron, like life's a little bit busy these days. Trying for a daughter and stuff, and just whenever I can kind of squeeze it in because I'm not in that zone where I have to, everything has to be perfectly timed and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But my current one is deadlifts on the Smith machine. Like, like we got a few Smith machines at Olaflex. We got some Atlantis and stuff. But I have my personal favorite. It's the old Mark 1 Cybex.
Yeah.
Which they are quite hard to find now. And what people don't understand is that you got the bar, but it's not a solid bar, is it? It's a bar with like 2 attachments that's fixed on the end. And they're like slamming it out at the bottom, like dead stop deadlifts. And it's just getting broken all the time. And you've got like 6 lifting platforms with racks in there. If you want to do some deads, or even if you want to do deads on the Smith, don't slam it at the bottom because it just fucks the bearings and it smashes the ends off. And it's out of order for a week and you need to get it repaired. So yeah, deadlifts on the Smith machine. Don't do them, guys.
Mark 1 Smith's 10, 15 grand in sterling. They ain't cheap, those things, man.
Yeah, they're hard to find now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mine. So we're all just grumpy gym owners. So,
No, but I think that's what it was, is that because it was slightly more underground, the respect was already written in. Like you wouldn't spend time because someone's like waiting for you. It was just general etiquette and I don't think it's just missing in bodybuilding personally. I don't think it's just a bodybuilding thing. I think it's general just etiquette for your fellow man or woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on this machine. I don't care how long it takes. Like wait as long as you need to wait, whatever.
Yeah, I've got a fucking discount code to promote you, dickheads.
Back in the day, the lads knew the lads knew who was competing in the gym, so the lads who were competing took priority. They didn't ask for it; it just happened. Which was the lads showed respect for each other and they actually communicated about it. I mean, they would never ever stand up in front of you if you're stood in the mirror doing an exercise like dumbbell curls or EPZ bar kills or whatever. They would never walk in front of you and take a dumbbell off a rack or whatever, or stand there in front of you and start doing their own training. That would never happen you get a fucking dumbbell in the back of your head. However, it's second nature now. They just don't care. Or you're
Yeah, I'll still do that, Leroy. If I see somebody doing a set and I need those dumbbells, I'll still wait until they've finished it to pick the dumbbells up. You don't kind of walk in front of somebody.
Properly. You've been educated, mate.
Educated.
You know what? Every time I come on here, I just seem to be fucking moaning all the time.
No, not at all.
There is some good stuff. There is some good stuff happening. There is, I swear.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there is the plus side. The demographic of bodybuilding is huge, which means the genetic pool of bodybuilding is bigger. So the bodybuilders are getting better. Like, it is happening. Like, there are lots of positives, but instead of it coming together, it's just created factions instead, where we war against each other.
There wasn't
more
tribes.
There wasn't really enough of us to do that back in the day, were there?
You don't stick together.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask Ron was, and it was a question that was sent in, was what was the favorite gym that you visited on your Mutant on a mission?
Oh man.
Actually, we had a question. What was the top 5? Ron? How many gyms have you actually done, Ron, over the years?
We've done almost 100 episodes. Almost 100 episodes. And the funny thing is I forget episodes all the time. Like, I'll be on Instagram and I'll see a video of someone training somewhere and I'm like, oh, I did an episode at that gym. I'm like, fuck, I forgot about that. So every time someone asks me my favorite gyms, I always leave the conversation thinking, damn, I forgot to say this gym and I forgot to say that gym. And you know what I mean? Because there's so many that I've had a great time at. I will say though that I would say my favorite gym, and I don't mean to give like this answer because like, of the, my friendship I have with him now, but it was the first episode and it set the tone and it was Dino's gym. And Dino's gym is really awesome. I mean, I know you guys have trained there. It's like, everyone in Birmingham and in England knows Dino's gym, but it's really awesome for more reasons than that. And it's very special to me. Not just because of Dino, obviously, but when I shot the first episode there, we didn't know what the show was going to be. It was just like we were just trying something out. And Dino was such a character. Like, we got the camera rolling. I just met him and he was 100% in Dino mode. He was showing me every little thing and telling me all these crazy stories about this bench came from this gym in the 70s and this came from this gym in London where, Bertil Fox used it. And this came from and Dino's just being Dino and show me all the pictures on the wall and every year and every detail about every single thing. And it set the tone for the show. It showed me that the show isn't really about the gyms, it's about the owners, and it's about the story of how the gym came to be and why the gym is what it is. And it's the gym owners that really make these gyms. So Dino's set the tone, and that is still it's still my favorite place, I think. Plus, just I love going to the UK. I love going back there. But there's been some amazing gyms like Super Gym, the Powerhouse, Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Gym in Connecticut, where Evan Centopani used to train. That was one of the best equipped gyms I've ever seen in my life.
I've trained there. I trained there with Jose, and it's weird you should say that because I was just before training, I go through like old training footage and stuff, and I've just pretty much pulled out a clip of Evan doing leg extensions in that gym, and I just tagged him this evening. And so yeah, it's just weird, but yeah,
that's funny.
That's an awesome gym. Yeah,
that was just an unusually well equipped. Like, holy shit, these guys have done everything. And then Quads Gym in Chicago, what a place that was! Really great, amazing gym. Metroflex Marietta, Ryan, the owner there. He's just a very unique dude. He's a real pirate, and he's got a hell of a gym. Probably the best outdoor setup I've ever seen in my life. He's got a space out back for everyone. It's crazy. But there's been a lot of awesome gyms, and I've loved all the episodes I've shot. But it really is about the gym owners. I mean, I had a great time. Every time I come to England to shoot, I have a great time. So that's why there's so many gyms that shot over the years in England, you know, just every time I go to London or whatever, I try to get an episode in, but it's hard. There's a lot of places I want to go and there's a lot of gyms I want to go see, but you know, we're doing season 10 right now and we're just lining up stops for season 10 and trying to figure out where I can go and what I have time to do. And so, but yeah, England's
Yeah,
always a safe bet.
we're waiting for you to come and use the Nautilus pullover on in the hardcore
I
corner,
know.
Rotoflex.
Up in Newcastle, right?
Yeah, we're about 20, 30 minutes from Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Have a Newcastle brown ale while I'm up there. Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, if you want to have a fight, Ron, that's what you drink. If you want to have a fight, you're on the brown ale. That's horrible stuff. Everybody thinks, especially from the northeast, that we all drink Newcastle brown ale. It's absolutely, it's like drinking like petrol
Right.
mixed with diesel. Have you ever had a bottle of Newcastle brown ale?
I have. Yeah. I have. You know,
It's not one of my favorite drinks, unfortunately.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
I
Who
mustn't be a true Geordie.
who's really famous from Newcastle? The only guy I know is Brian Johnson from AC/DC. When I think of Geordies, I think of Brian
Newcastle.
Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not too brushed up on this type of stuff. Dan, you're big into music. You should know some famous.
I don't know.
I was just
Gascoigne.
was
Who?
it that's his name? Raoul Moat. He was quite famous.
Oh yeah, not for the right reasons, Dan. Yeah, we won't go into that one. On that's Dan's sixth sense of humor. Basically, we won't even mention about shooting a certain individual.
That's funny.
It's funny, but it's not, unfortunately. Yeah, just
Yeah,
Dan to bring
yeah.
that one up. Yeah.
You can Google that later.
What about Gascoigne? he's a Geordie lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Paul Gascoigne. I don't know if Ron
Gascoigne,
follows soccer. You call it football. We call it soccer.
Right.
Actually, he actually ties into the Raoul Moat thing, doesn't he? So
Yeah, that's what made me thought. Yeah, he tried to go
Yeah.
to go fishing before he shot himself. Yeah, it's good.
Gosh. Yeah, we'll leave that one alone. Dan, did you have any more questions? Honestly, I didn't even have a chance to check my DMs because I literally trained, got back, and set up the Zoom link.
Oh man.
The other one was just like maybe a favorite piece of kit for each day, like a leg staple, you know, the desert island
Ah,
of kit.
you know, um, probably be a a good hack squat or a pendulum squat now at this point. Um,
Do you have a favorite hack?
yeah, it's funny. My favorite hack at my gym is this old Apex super simple hack squat, which is basically an old copy of a Cybex. So it feels just like a Cybex, you know, and super simple setup. It's small, little footprint on it, but it's essentially you know, copy of a Cybex, and I still use that whenever I hack squat. That's my favorite. We also have an Arsenal hack, which a lot of other people like better, but I like the old kind of 45-degree, you know, a
That
little
one's
bit.
lying down a bit more, right?
The Arsenal one is, yeah. This
Yeah,
one's a
you
little
can
more
load it pretty
upright.
heavy, can't you? Because it's like
Up
35 degrees. Same with the leg
places,
press.
Yeah.
Do you have a Paramount pendulum, Ron?
We have an Atlantis pendulum, yeah.
We have the Atlantis one. I got because the Paramount one's really nice. I managed to locate one, but the guy was wanting like crazy money. I really couldn't justify spending the amount that he wanted for it, so
Yeah.
I let it go.
There's
Unfortunately,
They were the first guys making it, I think, for a long time. It was a bunch of old Paramounts floating around out there. So
yeah,
they're
they are hard to
hard.
find now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Right now I just try to train. You know, like I love the DY row, the hammer DY row, you know, there's a couple of I just keep it basic. I use a lot of machines now. I don't use as many free weights, but yeah, you know.
What about
Yeah, that's Mr. Davis's favorite for bar. I just use that tonight, the old DY row. We don't have the
Oh, yeah.
old one that goes like with the massive stretch. We kind of have the updated version, which
What about
is still
prep-
good,
what
but
about
isn't as good as
pressing?
the old one.
What about pressing? If it had to be a machine.
Yeah, we have an Atlantis plate-loaded seated flat press that I love because it's loaded in the stretch position is where it's its heaviest.
Yeah.
Instead of being easy back here and then getting harder in the push, it's heaviest out of the stretch position. So I love that press.
We try the Jim Lecco version of that.
Yeah, they've
It's
got
like
some good
even,
stuff.
it's like even worse. Like the roll off
Right.
that at the back is like scares me at my age.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. I like some of the Jim Lecco stuff because of the footprint.
Well, yeah, for a gym.
Yeah.
For me, I'm quite tall. Like I struggle with some of this stuff just for the
Right.
like the hip press. I just feel like
Yeah.
totally like crammed in there.
Super big guy, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it feels just a bit wrong. You know, like some pieces of kit, you find what it is to do with like maybe how tall you are. I'm like 6'2", so
Yeah.
like some of them just don't work.
I like how he's 6'2", 300 pounds, and I say, yeah, really big guy. And he's like, well, it's like 6'2", 300 pounds, man.
It's mostly the cranium though. I've been doing my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crunches. There's
I had an
nothing.
80 pound head. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Androgen head.
Androgen head.
Yeah, we've all been there, unfortunately. Because I
Yes.
know Leroy's favorite back piece is the hammer roll.
It
I
is,
do
yeah.
like the hammer roll. I'm trying to think of mine at the
It's
moment.
it's in North Leeds, isn't it now? That the
The
actual one.
OG one from Temple is in North Leeds, yeah.
It's
The one where it's like heavy as shit in the stretch, which everybody misses out now because everybody just does this now, don't they? They do
Right.
like the top part of the row, the stand up one type of thing, just all
And you
drive
can't
out the
use
contraction.
and you can't use the actual handle. You got to put another handle on the
Yeah,
handle.
yeah, right. You know that.
well, Ron might not know that, like the Ultraflex, like Charlie, who owns a stakeholder in all of them, bought everything from Temple, and so every one of them has a bit.
Yeah, that's the impression I got, was that
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
it kind of got distributed around the Ultra Flexes.
This is hardcore corner here, so it's
Oh,
got
I know. It looks
it,
amazing.
it's got the hack in it. Well, I say it's this is a backdrop. I'm not
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah.
but it's got
It's actually distributed between two. So Durham has some and North Leeds has some. Durham has the original dumbbells from Temple, the original hack, the crazy heavy calf raise, obviously the pullover. I think that's all we got at Durham.
I used that old calf raise,
what the fuck was
Yeah,
that? Like,
the 1,000 pound
so
stack. I think
yeah,
I think I put 600 pounds on it. I did like a set with 600 pounds. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, there's 1,000 pound stack on this with horns for
yeah, it
more
had the horns
plates.
on it. I was, yeah, when they had the horns.
Crazy.
yeah. If I remember on Blood and Guts, where you guys used to put some weight on the little
Yeah.
thing as well,
Yeah.
where you kind of holy fuck.
That's a man's machine.
Oh my God. And then I think like Dorian was loading that up. And I just think like nowadays, I would think, okay, we're training calves. Do we need to load our spine with 1,000 pounds? That
yeah.
would be like my math on it would be like, is this worth the squeeze? Like, is there another way I can train my calves where I don't have to load my spine with 1,000 pounds? But I appreciate the fucking work. Like shit, you
Yeah,
know?
I go on that thing right. I've got a herniated C5, C4, so I'm just a stubborn dickhead. And I think, yeah, let's go on the calf raise. And like next day, I'm like, fuck. So I tend to have to do mine on a leg press now, like a toe press, because I'm old and shit.
Hey,
But every
I'm
so often,
glad.
I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
bit too much pre-workout, and I think, yeah, let's stack the calf raise. I'm like, yeah, that was a bad idea.
You know?
Don't do that again.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't have
Oh
any
man.
calves, so.
We won't go into that conversation, Dan.
Hey,
Myself and Dan are teamed off calves.
I got a question. Who was I know that Temple was a crazy place back in the day, Leroy. Who was like the craziest dude at Temple? Who was like, was there, do you have a character that you guys were just like, oh man, you're pointing at Leroy. You're like, yeah, it was me. Who was the guy at Temple like? I don't know. Is there anyone there that nobody messed with? Was there any like heavy hitters there that were just like that guy? You just let him. I don't know. It just had to be some characters in there. I'm just thinking back to all the crazy people I knew.
Well, I wouldn't play with Matt. I wouldn't play with Matt.
Yeah,
No.
Mr. Lacey.
Mr. Lacey. Yeah.
You see, we had quite a few characters down there, but again, because of the respect, if for any stupid reason someone did try it on, it didn't last long.
No.
It did not last long.
No, there must have been no tolerance there for bullshit.
There was, and unfortunately, you know, if you came down them stairs and you started gobbling off at one person, you had 15, 16, 17 lads
Right.
cast a shadow over you. You know what I mean? So
now it's a very intimidating place for most people. Obviously, that wasn't a commercial gym. People didn't wander in off the street and be like, "Oh, I want to can I get fit here?" But did you ever have any incidents where someone might have got a little tuned up in there? Did anyone get a little tuned up in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had a few.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. Yeah. We've had to pull a few people apart. Yeah.
Ah, I
And
love
to
it.
be honest, I don't think we can mention them.
No. I was trying to think if any of the stories you told me could actually be had, and I don't.
Because I've heard stories about stuff happening at Temple, but I don't know like what's true and what's old and stuff. But like that's how legendary, like you know, that's how crazy that place was like 20 years ago. I heard stories like, oh yeah, there's a guy that did this there once and he never did that again. You know, like you hear like these mythical kind of stories about that place, and you never know what's true and stuff. But after I visited,
I'll tell you one thing, all right. We had a phone call. That Dorian was come down to the gym. Right, this was in the evening. He was. I think he was taking Debbie out to have something to eat and whatever. So I get the phone call and he says, "I'm on my way. Can you just make sure I got a park?" So I went upstairs. I had a look at who was parked. Now there weren't much parking outside. However, it was a first come first serve, but he went by membership. If you were a long term, if you were a long term member. You got if you're a new guy, it's been there a few weeks, you don't fucking park there. But anyway, I'm looking there, and there's about 6 cars. So I think, okay, so we need 2 cars moving. So I go downstairs. I say, lads, who's the so-and-so car? And this lad said, oh, it's mine. Do me a favour. Pull it back, because Dorian's on his way. And this lad started gobbing off. Anyway, he didn't get to his second sentence. So we had to carry him out, and he moved his car eventually.
Yes,
when he regained consciousness.
But yeah,
yes, he did not get the memo.
He had to reverse park into like between the beer barrels and stuff. Didn't he? There's all loads of beer barrels outside of the gym. I remember that. Crazy.
Oh man. No.
Where's Dan going? Dan's probably going to attack one of his dogs.
No, my dog went outside and he's decided it is.
So when is the next time you're in the UK, Ron? Because we're still up in the air whether the Arnold's happening yet.
Yeah, that's the bad news. I just heard was, I heard it was going to be done later in the year, and then I heard it was maybe not being done, and I don't know what's going on. What do you guys heard about the Arnold UK? Because it won't be in May, because I normally come over in May, right?
Yeah, I have heard it might possibly be happening back end of the year. That's the latest kind of on it. So I don't know. But myself and Dan were talking about this the other day. If it's going to happen this year, I'm assuming they're going to need a big venue. So if they haven't booked it already, they're going to struggle to get something together. So
you're not going to get the NEC in like 2 months.
Right. Yeah, the NEC is like you got to book a year ahead, I'm sure.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, I am coming over for FIBO again, obviously in April. That's always a great time, but I really miss that UK stop if we don't have it. It'll be weird. I've been there every year for like 12 years now. It's really crazy.
Well, they had Body Power before that, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to come to Body Power. Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Body Power is no more as well. So hopefully the Arnold's on and we
need to get a couple. Weren't the guys that were promoting the show for a while there was some problems with that, and I don't know what happened, but
they changed the name when the name had already been printed all over the place. We can't say anything because I'm still competing, but
yeah. Okay. Well, good luck to whoever is figuring out that mess. It'd be good to have it happen again, And like I said, I need an excuse to get back there. I'd love to come up and see your gym in Newcastle there.
Yeah.
Where are all you guys? Like Anth is in you're just outside of Newcastle, right? 20 minutes out of Newcastle.
I'm in a place called Durham, Ron, which is like 20 minutes from Newcastle. Unfortunately, we all live like everybody thinks myself and Leroy live in the same like flat,
Yeah.
or the same cave. But unfortunately, Leroy's about 3.5 hours away, and Dan's about 3 years away. Every time Dan comes to visit, it takes him about 9 hours to get here.
So where are you at, Leroy?
I'm in Birmingham. When you go to the NIA, you're not far. I'm in Birmingham.
okay.
I am. So
Yeah,
if you come in, just Ultimate Fitness Birmingham, come give us a shout.
Yeah, I would love to come and see. Ultimate is that Simon's place?
Yeah, that's Simon's place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I last time I saw Simon, he invited me down. I'd love to come and see that place too. So you know, I've never trained there, so you know, come and have a look.
Yeah,
And then where
yeah,
and then where are you at, Dan?
Bristol, so like
Oh yeah.
just underneath Wales, basically. So yeah, southwest.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Not a lot
cool.
of not a lot of a bodybuilding scene, but quite like we have some real old bodybuilding scenes from like I guess so some of them have lived on, but there really is only really like two from back in the day, and
And
you live one side of the river, you go to one, you live the other side.
yeah, what are the gyms in Bristol? The best gyms?
So Trojan Fitness is the one that well we had a house built on the same street, and then LA Gym is actually named after Laura and Lisa and Andy. It's nothing to do with LA.
Right.
Yeah, if you live that side of the river, then that was the hardcore one. That was like kind of in the 90s when there was a little bit more of a segregation. All the black guys trained there and all the white guys trained over here.
Right.
But
I
remember,
know Trojan, I've been following them for a while, so I knew about that gym. I follow a lot of gyms on Instagram. You know, it's
it's
kind of
definitely worth the visit. It's unique. It's got a vibe to it for sure. It's got that thing that you don't know what it's got, but it's got that.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So
Yeah, Leroy's about 30 minutes from Dino's, aren't you, Leroy? Roundabout.
Yeah,
roundabout.
You were side of the city.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Birmingham would be
Actually, Ron, what happened at that time where we were supposed to train, Ron? You guys, you said you had a lie in. You must have been jet lag or something.
Yeah,
we
well,
were
then
supposed to hook up with yourself at Dusty, weren't we? And
yeah, we wound up going like an hour and like 2 hours later, and we ran into you guys there. We did something really way later because we just got too screwed up. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to see you guys that night. It was busy that night. That's always a fun gym on that weekend. You know?
Yeah, Dino's is a great like community feel to it, hasn't it? Which is rare nowadays. There's not a lot of small gyms left in the UK now, unfortunately.
No.
So yeah, it's just a different feel. But yeah, next time you're in the UK, Ron, we'll definitely have to try and hook up at some point.
Yes, that'd be great. You know,
before we're all too old and decrepit and things start falling off, or even more things start falling off.
Shoot some Instagram content.
Yeah, man.
Hey, that's what it's all about, Ron, the content.
Leroy's tripod out. Get it all set up.
I'm going to just wear this.
Oh, there we go.
So, you know, that's what I have actually bought, Dan, so I couldn't kind of...
Oh, shit.
Like me buying a proper tripod would be like a vegan eating a burger, so... you know, I get it. You know, we're all in a different time now, and even Leroy does some content and stuff. But I just bought one of those like little things where you just wrap it on the machine. I just can't see myself walking. Again, nothing against anybody who does it, but I just can't see myself walking around like it's some kind of dialysis machine where it's just like walking around every set. And
I got my IV drip with me.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of when they kind of just got it like this walking around the gym. But again, nothing against it.
You could get a tripod and just hang an IV bag from it, just to give it a different feel.
No one could say shit.
Just see what questions you get.
Just put some pineapple juice in it and just say it's an IV trend drip and see.
No one argues with chemo. No one argues with chemo. Just
Dan, please.
You can do what you want. But this one doubles up. So.
Oh my goodness.
We don't want to know what you've been using that for, Dan.
Yeah.
Right, Big Ron, we've kept you for quite a while, and much appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate being invited on, guys. I love just bullshitting and talking about gyms, and you know, I'm glad we got a Sunday afternoon chat. Besides a Sunday evening chat, I guess, for you guys.
It's
yeah, you're like 8 hours behind, aren't you?
Yeah. So if you give me you know, you guys got the head start on the day, but I'll catch up.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, Ron. Thanks for your time, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
And hopefully we'll hook up in the UK sometime soon.
absolutely. 100% or nothing. Thanks, guys.
Nothing.